MTA
This is
local.
Montcalm Township, MTA, not state.
Next, this is for board members, next, I don't know if it's Tuesday or Wednesday, it's the 15th next week. Reynolds Township, Winfield Township is hosting our local chapter, MTA. Chris Millard will be coming in as a speaker on redistricting, having to do with voting. So I'm planning on attending, I think David's attending. I don't know about Larry, you're not attending, I don't think. Are you wanting to attend?
I would like to, yes.
Okay.
I just need an address to go, but you said 7 o'clock, right?
Yep. Yeah, 7 PM, it'll be at McKenna's.
Oh, here?
Yeah.
Oh,
And they wanted a head count by tonight. I told them we had 2. I don't know, we probably ought to have a motion on that, that we allow board members to attend the, local chapter MTA.
It's been a custom for, we haven't done
Well, yeah.
motions every time.
And, yeah, it's $15 per person.
And, your spouses welcome to come. Your spouses.
oh, yeah.
Joe. Good. All right, so that's
You make a motion.
motion for local MTA.
Is there support?
Support.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Board review. Here. There's, I have that here somewhere. Okay. There's, 3 things that I need a approval of. The one is the meeting dates, because we're not following the state, assigned dates. The board has to approve alternate dates, and we can't follow the approved ones because of the assessors having other units to, they have to be at, so, I'll make a motion that we meet on that the board meet the public on the 15th, from 9 to 4, that's a Tuesday, and then Thursday, the 17th, from 2 to 9. 3 hours have to be after 6 o'clock. I'd ask for a support of that, to move support.
Oh, one more thing on that, you want to have the letters of acceptance.
I got 3, I'm
sorry.
gonna do 3 of them.
All right,
They should be separate.
all right.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The poverty exemption, in the past, we've always followed, federal guidelines, but that needs to be approved by the board. We can't, we can do stricter ones, but we never have, we've just followed those. And I'd like to make a motion to follow the federal, poverty guidelines for the community, for, the poverty exemption. And also, in that, in the past, if they don't have over 5 acres, then, because of the assets of the land, it takes them out of the, and the other one was,
You want to support on the second one?
I thought you supported it.
I'm supporting it.
All those in favor of following the poverty guidelines, say aye.
Aye.
And the other one I have, the state, the residents have to appeal have to approve. The state makes no exceptions for, they have to come to the board of review. In the past, we've always accepted written letters, because we have residents that are in Florida and can't make it. So I, request that, the board approve, written letters as a protest.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I regret that Kim Carr has resigned from the, planning board. We have a letter of resignation. Wanna address that a little bit?
I will, receive this from Kim on January 11th, 2022. Please accept this notice as my official resignation from the Cato Township Planning Commission, and consequently the Cato Township Board of Appeals effective immediately. I've taken my role as a commissioner seriously, unselfishly, and with no personal agenda or motive. I have come to terms that these values and contributions are no longer effective, and I believe I can make a difference elsewhere and serve my community at a higher standard. Thank you for the opportunity to serve my community. Kim Carr. I'll make a motion, we accept her resignation.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion. In that discussion, Todd.
Make her an award too for thanking her service.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Also, I think Todd has mentioned that we ought to, put on the website and maybe, something in the paper that,
We'll take applications from, now to our next meeting, anybody who wants to get involved with the planning commission.
I know there's two names from before, there was Joe Manning and Brandy Doe, was two that were the last one, voted Brandy and Arlen.
Yep.
All those in favor, hearing any other discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I oppose the resign.
MTA State Convention is this year in April, starting on the 25th, and I've signed myself up to go. The cost of the general session is $388 plus housing. I'd like a motion that I be approved to go, and any of the other board members are invited to go as well.
Your dad went with me a few times, you'd like to go down?
Problem is it's planting season, but in February, put me down temporarily, I guess we gotta find out. It's a bad time of the year, but. When you gotta have it in by?
About a week ago.
The rooms are
That's the problem.
The biggest problem, of course you can cancel.
Yeah.
At least they used to be in the past.
Yeah, I'm enrolled as one individual for $388, it's $388 per person, and, there's a full schedule for it goes till Thursday actually, but I'm gonna be done on Wednesday night, I think. And I can get you more information on it. You get the Focus magazine? I'll make sure you get one. Alright, I got a motion for myself to attend MTA State Convention, we need support.
Support.
And your spouses welcome to go. They have programs for the spouses. The move is supported, any other discussion? Very worthwhile.
All in favor?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The FOIA policy.
Yep, next is FOIA. Phil brought it up a minute ago that just to give you some background, Cato Township was informed they needed to comply with FOIA back in 2008, which my predecessor, Louis Morris, informed the board that we would need to, and we did comply with FOIA. We just haven't had a formal policy in place. So in your packet, I provided a policy that I'd like to adopt adopt tonight for FOIA, there's a couple parts to it. We have to appoint a FOIA agent. It always becomes the clerk because the clerk's in charge of keeping the records. I don't have a problem with that, but it's not part of your statutory duties as a clerk. But I'm making a motion that we appoint myself, the clerk, for the clerk's position as the FOIA agent, and that we adopt the FOIA policy and procedures that I provided in your packet.
Is the move supported? Any other discussion?
There is, I'll give you a little bit of discussion. There is some attachments in there, and I'll get these added to the website, where there's a procedure to make a FOIA request. There's also a fee schedule. Minimum fee is $11 per hour. You have to base that off your lowest paid employee, which is an election worker.
I think it's more than $11.
Another thing we haven't increased in years. But anyway, we don't have to charge if we're sending a document via scan or email or whatever, but I spent about 16 or 17 hours digging through boxes trying to come up with FOIA requests a week or so ago. And I discovered in the meantime that we didn't have an official FOIA procedure. So I'm proposing that we do.
Any other discussion?
Who supported that?
I support
David?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We need to compensate Todd for the extra time.
I'll write him a check. It was me.
I
I'm
think
sorry,
that
Todd.
was also covered in there, the fee.
The fees are in here going forward, but we don't have the fee schedule in place
What
currently.
he's already done.
Now I know where some things are too.
You wanna make a motion?
Make a motion to pay Todd for his hours that he's done.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported. Any further discussion?
What was the pay rate per hour?
Whatever it says in here.
Okay.
You figure out ways, I mean, going by our new rate.
I thought there was some hourly wages in there other than.
Who's the lowest paid?
No, you go by your lowest paid worker, that's an election worker.
I saw $20. So,
That's fine.
any other discussion?
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 12-month moratorium.
I'll take it. I got it right here. Our attorney presented a planning commission with a 12-month moratorium she'd like us to adopt and publish. It's a moratorium on wind and solar energy systems for the next 12 months. Everybody's got it in their packet, I believe. So,
I'll make the motion to adopt it.
For support?
It's for both wind and solar.
right,
Support.
Moved and supported. Any other discussion?
if you read through this, it does say that if we get our ordinances up to date, that we can repeal this, we don't have to wait 12 months. So,
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, motion carries. May school election.
I'll take that. The school, Lakeview Community Schools is going to try to, they're not going to try, they are going to have a bond renewal on the ballot this May. I believe the date is May 3rd. And it's about a $33 million bond issue. And because we're the precinct for registered voters, we have to host that here for the school. School will reimburse us for costs for doing that. But the bottom line is, it's a bond that's expiring that they wanna bring back on, it's not additional funding. I'm not trying to sell you on the bond, but the fact that we're gonna host the school's election here, and we're also going to merge with Hinton Township as all as one precinct, because Hinton Township is all Lakeview Community Schools under the districting currently. So likely Hinton will provide an election worker to take care of their citizens that wanna come here and vote. We also have about 500 people now on absentee permanent ballot, or permanent, ballots.
Yeah.
So shortly, well, probably April, we're gonna have to start mailing them out. That's a subject for another night, I guess. But anyway, just wanna bring you up to the fact, we would normally have our May meeting in this room the night of that election, or the night before that election. We're not gonna be able to do that, so we're gonna need to change our May meeting.
I was gonna say, you mentioned,
And again, we don't need to decide that tonight, but I just wanna bring it to everybody's attention, we can't hold our township meeting here in May,
we,
not on that night.
Just postpone it for a week.
well, might as well do it then.
That's what I think.
I make a motion that we change our May meeting date.
The ninth,
Second Monday.
May 9th.
Did we have anything we had to vote on the election? That was just an information, wasn't it?
Right. The only other thing is, county clerk has advised me that anybody who has, who's filling an unexpired term will need to be on the August, midterm ballot, which would be David. So that's kind of but that's, again,
No.
And that will just be the remainder of the term he's on right now, the rest of Henry's term.
No, yeah.
And then
So
they would go
24.
back on.
Right,
Okay.
correct. We only
The room is supported to move the, May meeting to the second Monday. Any more discussion?
I'll get that changed on the website too.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Change it on
Road report, Jordan, here.
I'll give you an update. There is, in your packet, there is a detailed report of all the work that's been done on the township and county roads here from 1987 until currently. That was more just an inventory or information. The county road commissioner put together a proposal for us to consider. He did an inventory on all of our roads and what shape they're in. That's your color coded chart that you have here. Did you have one of these, Joyce?
No, yes.
And down to the very bottom, in a perfect world, if we were to bring our roads up to date, it would cost $1.5 million for all the roads in Cato Township. But one of the scenarios we looked at in the middle is a chip and seal project where we could do almost 6 miles of road at $107,000. The county, this coming year, 2022, this current year, is willing to give us back 20% of that cost, or a discount of 20% if we were to do that all at once. Our thoughts were the roads need some attention, number one, but number two, we now know that the ARPA funds have been loosened up. There's a final rule letter came out a couple weeks ago where we can in fact use more than 18,000 on the roads. So that's the reason we're bringing it up tonight. There's no action required tonight, but just for consideration. And when Jordan and I have some time and can meet with the road commissioner, we'll probably go around and do a little closer assessment or review some of these roads that he suggested we fix.
So it's saying 107,000, and our cost is 85?
That's if we get a 20% break.
Okay. Yes, okay.
So our logic was we could maybe fix almost 6 miles of road, bring them up to speed for about $85,000–$90,000, and we might have the funds to do that. We won't get our second check till later this year, but that's what we're thinking. This was all done since our last meeting, so it's the first time we're seeing it, sure costs are gonna continue to go up. This isn't paving, this is chip and seal and repairing.
I hope they'll be able to do, because the 20 townships are all gonna be in the same boat, and, now that we know that we can use any extra money on roads, which we didn't know we could.
Montcalm County got about $12 million in ARPA funds. I think about half of it has been allocated already, but Mark at the road commission is working on seeing if he can get a hold of some of that for the 20 townships. Have no idea.
But I question whether they'll be able to, if we do 6 miles and the 20 townships do 6 miles.
Complete it?
Huh?
Can they complete the work
Yeah,
for all the townships?
Yeah, it's gonna take a couple of years, I think, for them to.
Well, I think the purpose is him doing this right now is because we're coming into spring and trying to get the projects lined up.
Oh, yeah.
And all these townships, what they call non-entitlement units, have got some ARPA funds right now, so. It's, I mean, good news, bad news, but, it's something for us to think about the next couple months here.
Well, we wanna get our road work lined up anyway. Anything else to come before this meeting?
Everything I know for the roads, I know there's 3 culverts in Cato, talking about replacing. There's one in Tamarack Road, by Satterley, on the Vanderwater drain, 2 by Funeral Home on Youngman, and then on Elmy Road, west of Cars, on the curve there, that tube is. Yes, that's bad. So I know them are the 3 tubes that are larger than a normal size tubes, and that pitches in Township, but I don't know cost of anything, I just know them 3.
He's planning on doing it this year.
Yes, cause I know the Vanderwater's gonna get cleaned out, but I don't.
But doesn't that fall under the special assessment drains?
The tubes wouldn't, I mean, the drain commission is gonna see what they can do with it, but being bigger than, I think it's 15-inch, some of that has to go on Township approval or payment on it.
Gotcha.
I think it's over and above the drains at large too.
Yes. Some of the 3 that I know from Cato.
Are we done? So I have to open up the public comment. Public comment.
Nope, I'm just going up here.
Real quick before I start with what I wanted to say, I mean, not having a process on getting bids, I mean, that's a serious deficiency in internal controls, and I'm surprised your auditor hasn't noted that. Something to consider. So I just have a few things I wanna talk about tonight. The first has to do with the role of our township attorney and the role of the Michigan Township Association, or the MTA, as it's often referred to. At the December Planning Commission meeting, several commissioners indicated they were told by the Township Board that the MTA provided a legal opinion or letter on a matter being considered by the commission. And as you're now aware from the letter I submitted earlier this month, this was not true. The MTA is a membership association that provides general resources and training for township officials. As their staff made abundantly clear to me, they do not provide legal opinions on any matter and always refer townships to consult their attorney on all legal issues, since it's the township's attorney, not the MTA, who will represent the township in any lawsuits that may arise. And we've hired a really good firm out of Grand Rapids to represent Cato Township, and given the controversial and complex issues that we're dealing with on many fronts, we need to always consult our attorney on legal matters because frankly the risks are too great. The second item I'd like to discuss is specific to the wind ordinance that is on our books. I did submit a request a couple weeks ago asking for support on when this ordinance was adopted. So far, the township has not provided evidence that it was properly adopted. However, what we did discover, that the ordinance did not get put on the books in 2015, as many township officials have stated, but rather it was adopted all the way back in 2010. And it sounds like it may have been in response to somebody wanting to put up a small residential windmill. Now it remains to be seen whether or not it was adopted properly in 2010, but what's more concerning to me is when I hear township officials say, well, we already have an ordinance and we're just reviewing what we have and not committing to making changes. I sure hope that translates into we will be amending the ordinance to conform to today's standards and regulations. Since in 2010, 500, 600, 700 foot tall turbines were very uncommon, if they even existed. Lastly, I just want to talk about the township's website also. We did say earlier that we have partnered with the village and continue to pay some sort of to keep that service, and I'm fine with that. However, if we're gonna pay for it, we should use it. We should use it to its fullest extent. And for instance, Todd, you told me you had to spend hours upon hours going through board minutes for my request on the wind ordinance, and if it would have been on the website, I could have done that.
I didn't even know where they were.
I know, but I'm just saying, put them on the website, now you have them, then you don't have to go through when people ask for them. They can, it's greater transparency for the public, and I think it would save your time, and it would save the taxpayer
Well,
time.
since we partnered with the village on a website, we are adding them monthly to the website.
Well, I'm talking about, put them all up there. Maple Valley has like 20 years of minutes on there. If people wanna sit at home on a Friday night and read them, they can, and then they're not asking you. I'm just telling, I think that would help you.
I understand.
So, thank you.
Anybody else?
I'd like to speak. I'm very new to the commission, myself and Brandy. I know a lot of things have been said, and I do want to clear the air. You as a board appointed me and Brandy to our positions, but I don't work for you. I work for the public, and I have one job to do, protect the health, welfare, and safety of Cato Township residents. So when we do come up to an agreement on an ordinance, I would really hope that you guys keep that in mind when we present you with what ordinance we do come up with. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kathy Craig from Douglas Township, and I think it was Mr. Morrow, I think, if I'm saying your name correctly, but just to follow up on something that you said about feedback from this last year. I have some numbers. I think that it's helpful to have in black and white, kind of like evidence of what people are wanting and saying. So from September of 2021 till January of 2021, or 22, sorry, all of the PC meetings and township board meetings, all the public comments that were made, I went off of videotapes of the meetings, and I tried to do an analysis for you. So 75 total comments between the last 5 months. 58 or 77% of those were related to wind. It was a big topic. 49 of those 58 comments, 84%, I said that correct, 84% were against the turbines coming to Cato Township. 4 comments, only 7%, were for them. 9% were neutral, 5 people were neutral about it, and one of the comments that was for the turbines came from Albert Young Award from APEC. So taking them out of the equation, only 5% of the people in Cato Township have spoken favorably about the turbines coming here. I think 84% is, you just can't argue with it. So I just wanted to share that with you. Additionally, in the minutes from the website, in April, between both PC and board meetings in April, 70 people were recorded attending the meeting. In May, between both groups, 43 people attended. In June, 14 people. Although the content of what all was said, those were not on any videos that I could find. And also the meetings alluded to them, but didn't really have like the specifics. So I didn't include those numbers in the statistic I shared with you. So I just wanted to point that out to you, that when it comes time for you to approve or not approve an ordinance, please just keep in mind that 84% of the people that have been speaking out do not want the turbines coming here. And if there are gonna be wind turbines here, that they would be like treetop level, 150 feet, so that everyone can maybe have some benefit from the wind for their own personal use and not take away from their neighbor. So that's for you to consider. Thank you.
Ben Stout, Cato Township, also a member of the Cato Township Alliance. That's a group of people that are trying to come up with a plan to make sure we get a safe ordinance. What I have here is, I know there's been some comments, there was 22 people here and only 11 from Cato. Well, so far I have collected, or our alliance has collected over 200 signatures in the Cato Township residents. I think we spent 2 days. And most of them are calling for, we're not saying no wind turbines, we're calling for a reasonable, decent ordinance that we all can agree on, that's fair for non-participating and the participating. So I put together a list here, and one of the other issues is I hear government funded. Well, that means people funded. We're the ones paying the bills. And in this turbine program, I've been researching the dollars, 60% increase in electrical bills, and they're taking government subsidies to make a corporation profitable, because on its own, it's not. And that's like, what are we doing? I mean, it doesn't make sense that the people have to pay a company to make electricity in order for them to be profitable. Because we don't need that electric, we don't need it. Michigan has already captured its 30% of renewable energy, which was voted in. But anyway, here's my list, I thank you for the time.
Anybody else? There's some solar in there too.
I'll let Joe go.
Hi, Joe Main. I've lived in Cato Township my whole life, and I would be interested in putting my name in for the open spot in the planning commission.
Jamie Snyder, Cato Township. Sorry if I stepped in front of anybody. I also am part of the Cato Township Alliance, one of the chiefs, I guess is what you'd call it. First, I would like to support two of our planning commission members that I feel have kind of been stomped on, and I don't know that threatening their jobs was appropriate at the last meeting. Brandy does amazing work. She works her butt off, not just for one side, but for both. Quanah comes in with amazing knowledge, especially working on electrical turbines. I mean, these guys are amazing assets to us. And the thought of their jobs being threatened, they're not even up until December of 2022. Sorry, Todd, for making you do all that work. Also, there has been mention of getting a hold of a sound engineer for the township. Maple Valley's hiring 2 for some reason. Maybe we should look into joining in with them and helping split the cost, because they're paying $200 each one. If we want to join a meeting or maybe ask them if they'd be willing to do it, I mentioned it at their planning commission meeting.